So we are doing some optimization today. Spring is in the air. It's chilly this morning, but spring is definitely in the air. And I work from home full-time, and I'm also a full-time homemaker. So I'm doing my business, I'm taking care of our home, making our meals. And one thing that I've realized over the years is that I have a very hard time focusing, getting the clarity that I need, staying motivated if my internal and external environment are all over the place. So for me, I've found it very productive to stop multiple times a month and just optimize my spaces, check in, figure out if there's too much chaos going on in my mind, too many tabs open at once, if I'm properly nourishing myself, if my spaces are in a condition to optimize the things that I'm doing. I think that we've been trained a little bit to think that stopping and helping our body detoxify, making sure we're nourished and making sure that our environment is prime for us to be our optimal self. I think we've been trained that that is somehow unproductive or selfish, or that's some side luxury. But really, when it comes down to it, for me, I'm not able to be optimized in my work and in all the things that I need to do for other people if I don't stop and do those things. So we're doing a little bit of that today because spring is in the air. So to reduce illness and feel a little bit more energized and at peace, it's always good to check in on these things. This year, we are doing some extra decluttering and projects and deep cleaning. Details on that coming very soon. But I'm sure after this video, some of you will have an idea of what is to come this year. The chickens are laying in very beautiful abundance right now. And we have 9 girls at the moment, and a couple of them are older ladies that aren't laying anymore. Or we have a couple gals like me in perimenopause, so they're still laying, but it's the production's low. You know what I mean? Isn't it so good? The privet trees have bloomed, friends. And you see the daffodils, which I saw yesterday, and the crocuses and the Lenten roses. We're in it to win it. So let's get started. Let's just flash back to morning for a moment. We can all take a nice deep breath, which I feel like we need. And then we can get right on to packing and talk about what I've learned about clutter and cortisol. It says I want to go with mommy. Oh, you do? We just have to do a little more filming, okay? And then we will get our exercise. And we'll go on our prayer walk. And we'll get our fresh air. You think that's a good idea? Yeah. They can see your happy tail. They can see your happy tail. All right, just a few more things, and then we'll do that, okay? We'll take our friends. I feel really confident in you guys that you're going to ignore that pile of laundry. Whew. So going down the rabbit hole of learning how my nervous system works, how it affects all the different parts of my body, what it's interacting with in the modern world, how it was designed. One of the things that I came across was how clutter spikes cortisol. We're talking clutter in your environment. This will be folded by the end of the day, Lord willing. Clutter in your environment, clutter in your mind, like having 12 tabs open at the same time in your head. You know the drill. Clutter in your life, things that should be let go of that are not being let go of. And it always makes me think of how the scripture says that God is a God of order and not chaos. And because we are made in the image of God, it makes so much sense that we're designed to operate within the flow of His orderly creation. Every single bit and piece of the very complex, incredible design of our body and our mind is in perfect order. His seasons, His creation, even in a world that is broken by sin, you can see it woven into absolutely everything. And so because we're made in His image, I do believe, and I'm not talking about perfectionism, I am not type A, as you can tell. I am type B. Somehow I'm running a full-time business from home, somehow doing that and all the home stuff. By the grace of God, go I. I am type B. But order and making sure that we take the time, like I said, once a week, a couple times a month, to take inventory of what's going on with us and to just set some things back in order. And it's okay to recognize that as a form of productivity instead of something that's taking us away from our productivity. It's kind of like how we've been trained to see rest as the opposite of productivity, when rest is a type of productivity. If you are actively resting, that is something that is being productive towards your life. I'm not talking about being lazy. I'm talking about taking intentional time to rest your mind, your body, and your heart. Taking a Sabbath, that is an intention, that is a productive intention that helps the body to heal and regenerate. When we sleep at night, we have cellular regeneration and all of the things that we need to do. Gotta bring some more wheatgrass upstairs because I use wheatgrass as a oil pulling substitute. I know a lot of people are gonna think that's really weird, but I use wheatgrass to make a mouthwash instead of typically using regular mouthwash. A lot of resetting happens for me in the bathroom. The bath is my sacred time. I love baths with all of my being. And so I come in here and I make sure I reset my salts, my magnesium flakes and Epsom salts. And then I make sure that I put together my detox bath stuff, which is the baking soda, Epsom salts, bentonite clay, and sometimes I'll add in some essential oils. Just like I use the bentonite clay for the detox bath, I also use bentonite clay when I make tooth powder, and I will mix that with something like a peppermint oil. But bentonite clay I found really effective for my dental health. I had to do a lot of fixing of my dental health coming off of 18 years of being a vegetarian. It really messed with my microbiome in both my gut and my mouth and my teeth. And so I've had to do a lot of work. So I've had to really learn and understand the microbiome of the mouth better. And there's just certain things that I found to be really helpful for me. With my toothpaste, I'm always looking for something that does not have SLS in it, that doesn't have any artificial colors in it, that doesn't have any harsh detergents in it where it's going to strip the healthy microbiome, the healthy bacteria in my mouth. And I always choose something that has the nano-hydroxyapatite in it because that is really good for helping to rebuild your enamel naturally. It's a me thing that I like to use mouth products where if you accidentally swallowed like a really small amount, talking just the amount that you would use to brush your teeth, that you don't have to immediately call poison control. Maybe that's just a me thing, but that's how I like to do things as far as my personal care items. This, my friends, is my Surrey, and I love her. Is she not a beauty? I am a sucker for aesthetic colors. I'm not gonna lie. You see that blue light? This is a UV case that she comes in. So this keeps the brush head sanitized so that it lasts a lot longer. And in my grand attempt to reduce plastic waste and get things that are healthier for my mouth, this is her. This is her right here. This I love. I kept the packaging because it says that she's refined, gentle, powerful, effective, durable, and reliable. And I was reading that and I was thinking, wasn't that goals? No pressure to be as epically cool as my toothbrush, but I feel like these are all personal character goals of mine. Obviously, a lot of toothbrushes are plastic, and I was getting concerned about microplastics with the bristles as well as just all the plastic waste. Not only that, but if you return the heads to them in the US or UK, they will recycle them for free for you. Once you turn this on, it has a 2-minute timer, and then every 30 seconds it buzzes, so I know to move it to a different part of my mouth, and I don't have to scrub. So you don't have to irritate your gums if you're starting on your dental wellness journey. You don't have to scrub and irritate everything. This actually has a pressure sensor to make sure that it is being gentle on your gums, but very powerful on your teeth. This one is the Winter Fern. I am a sucker for this color. There are other beautiful colors, but this one is the Winter Fern. You charge this up and you get a whole month of battery usage. So unlike other electric toothbrushes where sometimes you have to charge it every few times you use it, this one you charge it and you get a whole month out of it. You can actually get this toothbrush up off your counter if you don't like the clutter of having it all over there. And it is magnetic, so you would pop that on there, and then this attaches to your mirror and it's right up there, and there's a little cover that you can put over it if you don't want to stare at the bristles. This toothbrush just kind of has it all going on. So if you are interested in Surrey, there is a link in my description box and in my comments, and if you use my link, you can get 15% off of yours and find out why I love her so much. Human beings were made to walk. We were made to walk distance, we were made to walk often, and we were made to walk with God. There are so many muscles of the body that are specifically activated by walking. It's so good for circulation. It's such a good activity for closing out so many of those excess tabs in your mind. So if you're physically able, I can't recommend walks more. And prayer walks where you're not listening to anything, you're just either laying your heart before God or you're listening for his voice. For me, it's been something that's been life-changing. Sometimes I will have business meetings with God on my walk. Sometimes it's just me saying, I have no idea what I'm doing. Those of us who understand the hour that we're in right now, we know how crucial it is to make the changes right now and do the things that we need to do, the things that God has been laying on our heart to do. You know, I'd be curious with Holy Week, Passover, New Year, the biblical New Year, what you guys are planning. If there's anything you're planning on resetting, optimizing, bringing in, letting go, developing. You know, God wants to restore. He wants to make all things new. And a lot of times he's waiting for a willing heart. He's waiting for us to be willing to participate in all the things that he desires to do in and through us. But right now I'm trying to get just focused and clarity on a few things, shut out a few tabs in my brain that quite frankly don't need to be open anymore, and just get locked in to some of the things that I know that God is asking me to focus on more, and then other things that I know he's asking me to release. Okay. So this is from my book, The Lost Art of Living, and it's from chapter 13. As these chapters poured onto the pages today, I pondered on the dance between the altar and the garden. The altar was where you brought something that cost you. You brought what mattered, and you laid it down. The garden was different. It wasn't about letting go. It was about showing up. It was the place where things grew slowly, where provision happened in cycles, and where weeds crept in if you stopped paying attention. The garden needed consistency, the altar needed surrender, and both required trust. We need places in our lives where we can say, this doesn't belong to me anymore, and places where we say, I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but I'll keep tending it anyway. Not everything is meant to be carried forever, and not every small thing is as small as it looks. For me, the altar has looked like closing doors I wanted to force open. It's looked like the exhale of surrender, of what I needed to lay down. The altar has been a place of offering, the offering of my heart, my life, my mess, and my future. It's looked like deleting drafts I spent hours writing. It looked like handing something to God and trying to not ask Him to give it back. The garden, on the other hand, has looked like coming back to the vision even when I'm tired, making the soup from scratch when it would be easier not to, doing the little things with diligence when no one's watching. Both matter, but they require different postures. One requires open hands. The other asks for willing ones. They're disciplines, real places where God meets us in the dance of life between the altar and the garden. So friends, I wanted to thank you so much for choosing to spend the day with me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know, as always, in the comments if you have any ideas for future videos. And if you are new here and you ended up enjoying today's video, I would love to have you subscribe so that we can visit again. I appreciate all of you. I love you. And Lord willing, I will see each and every one of you beautiful and precious souls right here on the next one. Bye, friends.